here I am again at the house. So this time I'm going to be able to show you what's been going on. I'm quite sure it's still pandemonium upstairs, but at the moment things are much calmer here today than they were yesterday, which is great. The fireplace work is due to take place tomorrow, so we've got a bit of time on that, but the actual chimney cowl, that is happening today, sort of about midday. So let's see what's going on with the rest of the house. So here we are in the topmost bedroom. So this is the top floor, and if you remember there were 2 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms on here as well as the attic. So yesterday we had the air conditioning guys in that were running around and putting in all the grills and vents so that because they now know where all the positioning is going to be. So let's have a look and see what they've done. Coming into the top bedroom here, the painting has all been done, as you can see. And up here on the ceiling is a hole. That hole there, that's around about 200 millimeters in diameter, so not that large. There's obviously a light, and then there is another one over here and another one over there. The reason why there are 3 holes in here, we did actually think about putting in 4, but actually 3 is totally enough. It's actually quite a small bedroom. It does have ventilation in the window over there, which is all fine. But the air conditioning unit, which is actually up in the loft, the actual machines are up in the loft, so we don't have to waste any space here in the actual room, means that it needs to extract the air and blow, in theory, cold or hot air out. So you need to have something going in and something going out. We could have had just 2 in here, but actually because of the size of the room, it makes more sense, and it's no great hardship to have 3. You may remember there was a doorway in this section here, and we have removed that, and that is now a wall, which is why there's a bit of skirting missing, so we'll have to put that in. As you can see here, another socket there, because this is where a TV point is going to go. Moving along, radiators into the bathroom. We're just almost finishing this one up now. We're just going to be finishing the lights. So you can see this is the dark wood drawer unit, which is slightly off the floor, more Correx on the floor here. You can see the paleo tiles, which are here. These things all still need to be grouted, and the heated towel rail is now in place, although protected for the moment until we finish all the painting. And into the shower, this will focus, and you can see everything is ready for all the different things to go on once we've done all the messy work of the grouting. But the actual screeners itself is in place. That's a sliding door, and the loo is also in place as well. So we've arranged for the lights to come in. The lights are actually quite bright. They're the same ones as you see here. Now these LEDs, they're eco LEDs, so they don't use that much energy, which are great, and they look quite special. No bulbs attached, just drivers. I can explain this at a later date. And then we're wondering where we're going to put the lighting for in here. So basically for a shower, you really should have a light in this particular shower. So you can see where the shower head is going to go up there. And then it's just a question of where we would put the light. And you really always want one in a shower. So that will go in here. And then there'll be another one, which will go over this sort of section here. So it'll be centered up. So you could have 3 in here, but we're only going to have 2 because actually it's such a small room. It makes sense just to deal with 2 and not 3. So here is the bathroom which I just came out of, and as you can see, because this is a wet room, we've had to build up the floor, put the waterproof matting. As you can see, there's some underneath, and we've actually just put some over there as well. And what's going to happen is the carpet in this room will come running along here, and it would normally sit down here. By the time you've got some gripper and you've got some underlay on, it might be raised up a little bit, but you've still got a little bit of a gap. What you need to do at this point is you need a particular type of threshold, because this area here rather amusingly is called the Snot. Yes, what a lovely name. That's actually called the Snot, and what you need is a particular threshold which will actually sit almost at a right angle and actually level this down so that it almost becomes a smooth, fairly flattish surface to actually feed into the carpet in this room. The family bathroom has its heated towel rail in, so that's looking lovely and smart. So the plumbing all works there, we've tested it, and we'll put some lights in here. Putting on some grout, and then the remainder of the plaster will go on. We've got some which is still drying here, and that's all looking good. And actually it's going to be a really nice space. And then we'll get the flooring on, and that room will be done. Also here in the other top bedroom we have more of the vents for the air conditioning going in, but we only have two in here. You have one over there and one over there. The reason why we've got them over there is because in this corner on this side, this is going to be one of the children's bedrooms, and the bed is going to be running along here, so you don't really want any air going along on top of there. We see here, these are the joinery cabinets which have been newly painted. They look lovely. We're just waiting confirmation from the client to see what handles we're going to have. Everything else, switches are coming in, and these are the sockets already in place, and the radiator is there as well. These are the things from the joinery which are in the cupboards behind me, so they've just been taken out whilst we paint the insides of this cupboard here. Meanwhile outside, this is obviously where the carpet's going to go, but we're not putting this on right away. We're actually, when we do the carpet early next week, we're going to be doing in the bedrooms, but we're going to be leaving everything which is going to be outside here because you've got people coming in and out. So this obviously will have its underlay on, and then the carpet will be put on in due course. I was talking yesterday a little bit about thresholds, I think. Now thresholds are these things which run along here, and those are the things that actually keep the two things together. Also out here is one of the intercom systems for the top floor, so another one of those, and we've put in a plug socket down here, just a single discrete one down here, and the reason why that is there is when people want to vacuum, you can just move things up as you're coming up and down the stairs. You just have one power source out here. Let's move downstairs. And here are the newly painted units here of bedroom 2. You can see with its wardrobes and open shelves. This was obviously used, you might remember, for a store for the workmen. And you can see there's the other socket which needs to have its plate put on. The rest of the sockets have been done, so you can see those here. Radiator just needs uncovering. And if we pan round and look above, you can see where the wiring is up here. This is where we've taken the unit off for the air conditioning unit, and we've done this so we can sand away and clean up this bit before putting the unit back to its rightful place. The joinery in this room is actually quite interesting. As you might have seen earlier on, it obviously has, behind this ladder you can see that it's almost like just bookshelves, not quite up to the ceiling, but quite enough. But it does actually have some wardrobe doors, and these wardrobe doors have the very classic case of the sort of the handle, which obviously has 2 points. You can see this handle has been removed, so you can see that, you know, obviously where the fixings would have been. What the client wants to do is actually take that out and actually just have one. So it means that these two little holes here will need to be filled in, and a new handle will be put on in the centre of these, and you won't even know that the old handles even existed. Here in bedroom number 2, this is where one of the children is going to go. So this is a relatively quite straightforward room. The windows are actually quite straight. I don't know whether you can sort of see those. So literally at the top here, this part is actually quite straight all the way along here. So that basically means that you can put either blinds or a curtain. I think that they might actually do a blind in here, a Roman blind. I don't mean a roller blind, I actually mean a Roman blind. That's the one that's got the folds all the way down it. And the good thing about putting blinds in rather than curtains is that it's much less fabric and it's much less cost. I think it'll be cleaner for this room as well. So as long as they want blackout fabric, they can have a blackout blind, and there's no need to have curtain finials and curtain poles and all the other things and tie backs that go with when you have a big set of curtains. This is obviously one of the bedroom doors here, bedroom 2, which has had its lock taken out because the new ones have arrived. So when you're choosing locks and door handles, you need to work out exactly what you want for your doors. Some will want a lock and some won't. These are not here for bathroom locks, so this is just a normal bedroom door. So obviously this whole thing needs to be changed because this plate is very important, and this actually is in relation to this. So you can just have a handle which turns, you can have one with a key, and if you're looking at getting a bathroom lock, that's another thing entirely. You do have to look at everything when you're going around the different houses, and anything you're unsure of, you need to ask. And the reason why you need to ask is something could go wrong. They may have misinterpreted what you say, they may have been told different information by somebody else who doesn't know what's going on with the job. You need to know exactly what's going on in your properties so that you can tell the client, because you will get asked this stuff, and it's no good you saying, "I'm sorry, I don't know." Here in the master bathroom, we have some tiles that have been cut. So I showed you the tile guy downstairs, who's basically a stonemason who is used to dealing with all types of stone, from worktops, thick worktops, to the much thinner tiles. So the grouting is actually ready to go on. So what's happened is these little bits that you can sort of see here, these little crosses here, these are the ones which go into the tiles, and they are there to actually put the spacing between each of the tiles that go on the wall or the floor. It's not so much that they really put them, I've seen them on floors before, but mainly they go on the wall. So in here we're going to be having a very sort of off-white type of grout. You will get asked what colour grout you want to use, and lots of them have different qualities, to be perfectly honest. Sometimes I think, well, it's much better to go for a darker one, but if you do go for a darker grout, you will see every line, which is why that lighter grout, particularly white, is so well used. The tiles that are here in the master bathroom, as you can sort of see, we've still got plastic over it at the top here, and we have, this is the alcove you can't really see behind. But once this gets grouted, this is going to look pretty phenomenal. We've only done it on one wall, as you can kind of see. We have the normal tiles on this side and normal tiles on the other side. So this is really just to make a feature out of this particular wall. When this bathroom was originally designed, we actually designed it with a cabinet above the sink. So the actual basin itself is going to be sitting down here when it gets put in. So we sort of have the taps here that you can sort of like see, because this is going to be a double basin. But the interesting thing is the actual clients didn't want to do that. They didn't want to actually have a cabinet above here, and they wanted something different, something a little bit more towards their taste, rather than the normal thing that you would get, which would be the cabinet, the mirrored cabinet on the wall. So what they're going to do is they're going to put a funky mirror. I've not seen it yet, I'm not even quite sure whether they've measured up for it yet, but they'll probably ask me to measure up for it. But they'll put something there that will be far more decorative. As far as the actual lights themselves, these things here on the wall, this is probably going to be the normal stuff that you see. They're quite Art Deco led, and there's the long linear lights that will sit there. They're on a separate switch, which is just outside in the master bathroom, sort of behind where you are, and so that they won't need to put on the spotlights here for this particular room. They won't need to put the spotlights on at all. If they don't want to, they can just flick the switch, and these ones will come on and probably provide just enough light for them. Likewise too, in the master bedroom here, we have obviously places for the two lights which are going on the side of the bed. So these wires here are all ready to go with the switch sockets. The back box is already carved out, and these will be for the reading lights, which will be on this on this wall, and then these will basically come out to the center part here, and this is where the headboard is going to be. The headboard that they've actually chosen I haven't seen as yet, but I know that it's reasonably substantial. It's going to be 4 meters of fabric, and it's actually quite a lovely fabric. I'll see if I can copy it in here. It's actually a Pierre frame. It's a French house, and it's sort of a navy blue, and it's navy blue linen, so it's very, very pretty, quite striking. So that's going to be going on this wall here. The new sockets are also in, and they look lovely, if I do say so myself. These are by a company called Forbes and Lomax, and these are antique bronze. Let me show you them, because they're looking very lovely next to these newly painted walls. So here are the two plug sockets, and you have the switches which are on and off here, and beneath it you have the two USB sockets, so you can plug in your iPhones or iPads or anything else that you want. So these two sockets here have a very smooth line, and they sit flush into the wall, because behind is a back box about that big which goes into the wall, and then this goes on the top. This is the new skirting which is on the side of the master bathroom, and these little holes you can see here are where they've been stapled into the wall, just there and there. Now, here is the hallway, the super duper hallway in railings. This is by Farrow and Ball, and it's a really, really dark colour you can see there. This is just the first coat on. Obviously you can see the white patches where we're just doing a little bit of filling and moving out. There is the gentleman there who's just sorting out the front door, and the cables hanging down for the top, as you can kind of see that's where the lighting is going to be. But you can see how dark this is. It's quite an interesting colour, even with the fan light just there throwing a little bit of light through. That's going to be changed, but you can see exactly how dark and mysterious it is. You can see the power point going in there, and over here you can see the wiring for the light switch and the intercom, which is here sitting on the wall ready to go. This is the protective cover which is over the banister at the moment. This will be taken off to be varnished, but it's going to look quite different when we sand it back at first. You can see the guys here who are doing the sanding and painting of the chimney breast, and all the lights are hanging down there, and also in this section here, the back part of the reception area where the TV is going to be. And so here is where the TV is going to be, and here is the space where the bracket was. As you can see, it's filled in. We need to add a bit of rail just along there. And down here is where the plug sockets are, right in the back there. They'll be all lined up, hidden away, and the TV will be sitting on that wall flush, and all the cables will be running all the way down and will come into the sockets at the back there. Here is where the plate was going to be in there, and it's now over here, and the reason being is behind there is a steel beam, and the steel beam obviously runs all the way up this pillar and above. Let me see if I can show you so you can kind of get really a grip of where sort of steel beams are generally put in. So this is a huge archway, and basically running all the way up to that corner, all the way over down there, and probably all the way down. There's probably an archway going all the way across it, and that's all going to be steel beam holding up the roof of this rather magnificent room. Meanwhile, the rest of the flooring is covered up by Correx. So this is white Correx. You can get it in black as well. Let me see if I can show you a little bit of it. As you can see, if we turn it up here, it's really quite thick. It's actually quite ribbed. It's a plastic. Nothing gets through this stuff. So that's on there and is protecting the floor underneath, which is great, and it goes exactly wherever you want to put it. And you can see it sort of going all the way around the edges there. They've cut it in, and obviously beneath it is the flooring. So this is the first look at the flooring for you, which is almost like a very sort of pale oak. The obviously fireplace needs to be put in, so that's obviously got lots of work to be done. You can see what they're going to have to chip away and redo all the way along down here. Now obviously you can see this is being smaller, so it'll all come in, and that's the dado rail which will need to be replaced on the other side. They'll also need skirting on that side and also on the other side in order to make this work. But we'll have to see exactly how they're going to do that, because you can kind of see here all of this bit is going to be half black, half it's going to have to lay in with the wood flooring just there. This wood flooring, obviously it has the underfloor heating underneath it, and it goes obviously all the way up. All of these, we have to be careful of the joist, all underneath here. This is where the gas supply runs in, and of course all of the things need to be fitted in between the joist and all of the underfloor heating pipes as well as the electrical cables. So that's this lovely area here. There's obviously going to be a light actually on either side of here, so that'll be good to see. Like a bird on a tree. What I am waiting for is the chimney man. Now they're running a little bit late, so I've got this small sort of window of opportunity here to actually get them up to the neighbour's house, as we know, and up to the roof and across to our roof. They're running a little bit late. They should have been here probably about an hour and a half ago, and I've probably got another hour or an hour and a half to wait. They're running late on another job. This happens all the time, but you have to be quite firm with the people back at their head office and basically say, we have this small window, they have to be there. That can't be I get a call in an hour's time telling me that they're not coming. That's unacceptable. She knows this, they've been told this, and so I'm now waiting for them to go. So waiting for them to get here. So this allows me to show you a few more of the finer details around this house. So down in the basement we are. So this is the utility room, and this is going to be one of the last rooms to be done. So if we sort of spin around here, you can see all the electrical work there, all the cables waiting to be all chopped into their various positions, and then you have all the pipes running along here into the mega flow. This has had quite a bit of work going on down here. All of these pipes, all the manifolds are going to be sitting along here, and on this tabletop here there's going to be a workbench. These sockets are going to be going, they're old sockets, so they'll be removed, and we obviously have a new radiator there, and there'll be obviously new tiling and other different bits and bobs on the floor, so that'll make things look a lot nicer. Here you see an outside workbench just waiting to be used, and then we have the stonemason who's cutting some of the tiles for the master bathroom here, and you can see the water which flows through the machine. This keeps the heat which is generated by the wheel and the tile at bay and keeps everything cool to use. The choice of colour for some clients is or can be a tricky one. Now perhaps for you or I it's quite easy to actually choose colours that you know will work and that will perhaps go with your own furniture, but when you're designing for a client, all sorts of things have to be taken into consideration. Clients will choose their own paints, and when it comes to colour, sometimes it's best to leave it to the client to actually choose what they want. After all, they're the people that are going to live with it. Sometimes they just want to argue with you, and that's when things can become quite fraught. One of the best things to do is to let them run riot with a few colour cards and see what's suitable for them and what they like. They can discuss with their families, they can discuss with their children, their parents, or whoever it needs to be. Often they'll get friends involved, and that's a really tricky situation because everybody has an opinion, especially on colour. This client has done something which is actually quite simple and quite brave. They've actually just chosen really to almost blanket one or two of the rooms in just a plain white. They've gone for a very sort of grey, cool palette. So downstairs we have, in the basement that is, we have in the kitchen we have Webbit, which I'll show you here. And then further up we come into railings, which you've seen, which is the dark colour in the hallway. I'm standing in the master bedroom, and this one, this colour that they've chosen here is called All White, and it's by Farrow & Ball. They have a multitude of whites, as I'm sure you understand, but this one is actually quite kind on the eyes. The dark colour downstairs is railings. Now railings is a very sort of dark, almost like a charcoal stroke black. It's actually very brave of them to do that. The only problems with dark colours is that occasionally you see the finger marks, especially grubby little finger marks from children. So it's well worth knowing that when you do put a dark colour on the walls, you are going to see fingerprints at some point. For downstairs in the basement, now this is obviously going to be the study, this is going to be the kitchen, including the cabinets themselves. They've gone for another Farrow & colour called Wevet. Now Wevet, I can't show you downstairs yet because it's not actually finished painting, but when you see it, again, it's still on that very, very cool grey palette. This will actually be quite a change for them because at the moment, you might have seen from the original photographs of what the kitchen looked like, it was very cream, it was very countrified, and it was very sort of warm. So this is going to be an altogether a much more modern approach to their kitchen, and everything that they're choosing to go in the kitchen, all the appliances, all the handles, everything is reflecting that. It's going to be a much cooler palette, it's going to be modern, and it's going to be as befits a young family in London. The living room, meanwhile, is a colour called Blackened, and Blackened is actually carrying on actually further up the stairs and goes into the other bedrooms. It's a very sort of pale grey colour, and it works actually really well if you just want a nice contrast against the white piping, the actual white woodwork which they've got going on in the hallway. So I envisage that this will be actually a very good colour for them to actually use throughout the rest of the house. I think in some ways that they've chosen it because it's a much simpler colour to go for. They don't have to worry about will it fit in with anything else. It's not a yellow, it's not a pink, it's nothing like that, and it's obviously not the normal magnolia or beige that you get.
Just finished at the Chelsea job. We dealt with the chimney man. I was going to take my recording equipment up there, but I thought it would be terribly rude going into somebody's house. So we went through her house, she was lovely, and we went through her Velux roof, onto the roof. Literally 10 minutes, the cowl was fitted and the chimney was sorted. All going really well at the house. There's a few more things that need to come in and be dealt with. I had to order some more wallpaper paste today. Normally this is the preserve of the builders to do, but when you're using specialist wallpapers, they often want to use the specialist wallpaper paste that goes with it. The issue with this in particular is because if you don't, if anything happens to the wallpaper or it bleeds or something happens to it, then there is no recourse with the actual manufacturers of the wallpaper because they want you to use their wallpaper paste, and only then will it be in warranty. I'm now off for a well-earned rest. I'm going to grab some food and I'm off out tonight meeting a couple of friends, so that should all be good, and a little bit of relaxation before it all begins again tomorrow. See you then.